Hey everyone, here to introduce lesson 9.5, arguably the scariest sounding of all of our lessons. The topic is mean absolute deviation. They abbreviate it MAD, M-A-D, mean absolute deviation. And it's definitely a skill that'll drive you mad. It's very time consuming, lot of number crunching. So hopefully you followed the directions of the assignment description and you are doing this in order. So I've asked you to take a look at the exam score table that I posted on this assignment on Google Classroom, and I asked you simply to find the mean. So looking at that table, you had 14 different students and their exam scores next to it, okay? We have the students' names in one column and their score next to their name, okay? I asked you to find the mean. You should have ended up with a mean of 88, okay? If you didn't, I'm sorry, double check. Again, use that calculator, excuse me. So you would have added them all up and divided by 14 because there were 14 students, you would have gotten an overall mean of 88. Okay, so that is step number one in finding mean absolute deviation. What mean absolute deviation is it looks at the average distance, I'll use that word distance, the average distance from the mean. Okay, so for instance, the mean of what the student scored was 88. That does not mean that everybody scored an 88. We see from looking at the table, there's students who scored higher, there's students who scored lower, there's students who scored, no, there is not a single student that scored an actual 88, but we see some students that are very close to that 88 with an 89 possibly, an 86, okay? Very, very close. They're not deviating, they're not straying from that mean all that much. But we see other people who are a lot further away from that mean of 88, okay? Either with a higher score of maybe 96 or a lower score of 76. Okay, so if something deviates, it's kind of like strays. Okay, so when we're looking at deviation, we're looking at it's a measure of variation. So we're looking at how spread out it is. When we find mean absolute deviation, we're actually finding mean twice, sort of. Okay, so the first step is find the mean, which hopefully you've already done. We discussed it's 88. Your next step is to then figure out how much each of the individual values, so in this case those exam scores, how much those individual values deviate from that mean. In other words, how far away are those test scores from the mean of 88? Okay, so if we were to go down the list, okay, what I would suggest that you write it right on that table is if we were to go down the list and see that Ben has an 89, how far away from the mean is he? Well, he's 1 point away. Okay, it's easier for me to write it this way. He's 1 point away. If we look at the next person, Emma, she got an 86. She's 2 points away. Okay, and then we're going to go down the list and write down how many points away each of those students are from that mean of 88. Okay, and again, some people are scoring higher and some people are scoring lower. We're just writing the distance away. So if these were on a number line, how far away would they be? Okay, what we end up with is another 14 numbers. Okay, those 14 numbers representing the 14 students. Okay, we have some people who are a point away or 2 points away or 8 points away or 12 points away, for instance. But each and every one of those students is going to have their distance of how far they've deviated from that mean. Okay, let's just say someone in the class had an 88 right on the dot. We would write the number 0. They didn't deviate from the mean. Okay, they were 0 spots away. Okay. What you're then going to do is you're going to have a number for each of the students, how far away from 88 they were. And then what you do is you find the mean of those numbers. Okay, so again, you're adding up 14 different numbers. Use the calculator. These numbers are much smaller than the exam scores, but still, there's a lot of them. Use the calculator. and you should get a total of 74, okay? I got that total by saying, okay, Ben's 1 point away and Emma's 2 points away. Going down the list, Sue's 12 points away. So I added up all those different numbers. I got a total of 74. Okay, with that number, what you want to do is still make sure that you are dividing by that 14. Okay, we're still dividing by the number of values that we're adding. Even if there's a value of 0, we can't not count 0. There's no 0 in this example, but we end up with this. Okay, some of you are already thinking that doesn't go in a whole number of times. That's okay. We see a lot of times with these directions, round to the nearest tenth if necessary, okay? So if we were to do this, I'll actually just do it right here. If we were to punch this into our calculator, we would see that it does not go in a whole number of times, and it's actually quite a lengthy decimal. If we did 74 divided by 14, we end up with 5.2871. I don't even know if you can see that. You probably can't even see that. I can't tell. It looks all white to me. 5.285714, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So if we are rounding to the nearest tenth, if necessary, we need to really only concern ourselves with the tenths place value, the first decimal, and the hundredths place value, the second. Okay? This is the place value we're rounding to according to the directions, the tenths. We need to look to the neighbor to the right, okay? So this would round up to a 5.3. This would be a MAD, a mean absolute deviation of 5.3, okay? It's kind of a lot to take in. It's a lot of keeping track of these numbers. So step number 1 is you will find the mean. Okay, we've done that. We've done that many, many, many times. And you should be using a calculator. I am. Okay. Next step is you have to figure out of the values that you were given. In this case, we had 14 test scores. How far away from the mean are each and every one of those values? Okay, so that's giving you this running record of another set of numbers. You then find the mean of those numbers. Okay, so we just have a couple practice problems today. So when you're done viewing this, I want you to review the notes, which give you the step-by-step of what we need to do. And then there's a couple questions in the Google Doc that I shared. And of course, we'll have our 2 o'clock meet. So at a minimum, I hope you're coming to the meet with the mean. Okay, because from there, we can kind of jump off to what's next. Okay, at this point, we should feel pretty comfortable with finding the mean of a set of numbers. We've done it many, many times throughout the lessons. Okay, so again, day 1 of a new concept. It sounds scary. If you're confused, it's okay. We're going to get through this. Like I said, hopefully you can come to the meet with just the mean set, and then we can just go from there. So I will see you at 2 o'clock.